McGregor with me. He's MPP from Brampton North. We know that. He's also Parliamentary Secretary to Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism, Michael Ford. So Graham has some very, very important information for us regarding some healthcare services. So Minister Sylvia Jones, who is our health minister, deputy premier also, her office has contacted our team yesterday. So today we are going to interview her also. But before that, let's see what information Graham has for us. Graham, welcome to Radio Parvasi and good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rajinder, and good morning to all your listeners. Thanks for having me on the show.
So what information is this?
So earlier this morning, our health minister, Sylvia Jones, announced our plan called Your Health, which is a plan for connected care. We all know that the healthcare system is going through a big struggle right now, particularly here in Brampton, and we know that the status quo to continue doing the same thing year after year simply isn't working, and we know that people deserve better than that. So what Minister Jones released earlier today was a 3-pillar plan to connect you to better care. So the first pillar is about getting the right care in the right place, which is really, making sure that if there's a treatment that you need that can be done more conveniently than in a hospital, then let's make sure that that's happening. So, for instance, pharmacists. Earlier this month, we allowed pharmacists to prescribe medication for 13 common ailments at no extra cost to Ontarians.
Okay.
So these are things like pink eye, UTIs, hemorrhoids. We've actually been able to measure and nearly 40,000 assessments for these minor ailments have taken place. And our second pillar is faster access to care, and our third pillar is hiring more healthcare workers, and happy to answer questions about that.
Okay. No, my question, last time when we talked about that private healthcare system, parallel healthcare system, which we can say for small kind of or not very serious kind of operations like knee operation, cataract, or other kind of surgeries. So I interviewed a couple of doctors after that. So they told me that we don't have enough infrastructure or equipments at this moment, and it's going to take some time. Though some of these kind of clinics, they are already providing these services, but it's going to take some time. So when we think that this new program which Premier announced on that day is going to be implemented fully.
Yeah, so we're going to be implementing the full plan, and really what you're talking about is what Pillar 2 is all about, which is getting people faster access to care. And we're going to be implementing these over the next couple of years, but I'd say immediately as part of that announcement, the government invested $18 million into existing centers, which upgraded the amount of services they could provide. So 49,000 more hours of MRI and CT scans. That's happening this year. 4,800 cataract surgeries. That's happening this year. On top of the new licenses that are going to additional health centers for 14,000 and new cataract surgeries. So that's all happening this year. And when we look at that on cataract specifically, that represents about 25% of the current backlog. So we're going to be able to cut the wait list by 25% just on those initiatives alone. Now, we're also investing another $300 million as part of the surgical recovery strategy to increase scheduled surgeries, procedures, and diagnostic imaging. And that part of what probably some of these doctors were talking about, that's going to be particularly building some capacity in hip and knee replacement surgeries that are going to be able to happen in clinics by this time next year. So the plan is to obviously do what we can immediately, but we're also looking to the future because we know that Ontario is growing. We know that we need to make sure that we're building capacity. So we are building towards the future.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Another thing which they told me was that they said that we have enough nurses now. We have enough. We're increasing seats at the nursing colleges, and we are getting nurses from other part of the world also. And it takes less time to train these nurses here in our system. Same is with other medical staff, you can say PSW or other allied staffs. But the problem is with the doctors. So we don't have enough doctors, and we don't have any plan to increase. I'm happy. We are happy to know that we're having another medical school in Brampton, which Premier announced on that day. That's a big announcement, but it is going to take a lot of time. So we have quite restrictions on the foreign trained doctors if they can work here. Ontario is trying to lure all those doctors from other provinces, but I don't see enough doctors coming here. So how we are going to deal with that situation?
Yeah, and you're right. And one, I would say, we've put a lot of effort into hiring more nurses and hiring more doctors. Since Premier Ford took office in 2018, we've actually trained or brought in, I should say, another 8,000 doctors than existed in the province before 2018. So we're pulling out all the stops. But you're right. We are also putting a medical school in Brampton as well. We have 95 postgraduate positions, 80 undergrad positions coming to the Bramley Civic Center. We had a great announcement where Premier Ford and Minister Jones came out to Brampton and announced the location for our medical school, and we're partnering with the city to make sure that we're getting that built as quickly as possible. And we're hoping to have the first set of students come in the next couple of years in 2025. So we are working on the doctor problem, but you're right. If you're a healthcare worker, this is something, Rajinder, that has never made sense to me even before I got elected, and makes less sense now. If you're a healthcare worker in India or in the Philippines or in Brazil, you shouldn't have to go through the exact same amount of schooling to be able to do that in Ontario or in Canada. Now, of course, we have to have standards, and we need to make sure that everybody comes to the standard, but we really can make that a lot easier. Now, we're looking at options doing that with doctors. Regarding nurses, we've actually been breaking down some of the barriers with the College of Nurses of Ontario to get up to 5,000 more internationally educated nurses. Because again, if you can be a nurse in India or in the Philippines, it shouldn't be so hard for you to be a nurse in Canada. We've also brought in as of right rules, which you and I have spoken about before, where if you're a nurse in another province in Canada, you can come serve here in Ontario right away. Again, if you're a nurse in New Brunswick, we want to have you here in Ontario, we hope that those initiatives, as well as what we've been doing through the Learn and Stay program to train more healthcare workers, but also to train more paramedics, we're really hoping that the labor challenges and the health human resource challenge that we have today will not be the health human resource challenge of the future. Okay.
The last important thing before you go is the mental health issue. Every day we are seeing the rapid increase in these kind of cases. What we saw in Vaughan Mill, we can't say that the person might be affected from these kind of issues. We don't know. But every single day we are seeing there is a big increase in these kind of cases. Police is dealing with them. We have more. We need more healthcare professionals to deal with such people, and particularly after this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, what we are seeing is we are going into very, very difficult situation. So I don't know. We have a minister who is in charge of these kind of matters. There is a full-fledged ministry, and I know this minister from Wuhan. I'm just not able to recall his name.
Michael Tabola.
Michael Tabola. He's a good friend. By the way, he's a good friend. I have talked to him a couple of times. He's also worried whenever we have talked to him. So I don't know if there is any collective plan for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we talk about mental health, we need to remember the important context that this is something that government really over the last 4 or 5 years has started to wrap its head around, and it really needed to. For instance, we the PC government, when we came in 2018, we put together a 10-year plan called the Roadmap to Wellness, which was supported by an investment of $3.8 billion to make sure that we're implementing connected, accessible mental health support. Before we had done that, there was no investment like that of its kind, and this isn't a partisan attack or anything like that. It's just that politicians hadn't clued in across the party spectrum about the big challenge that we're facing with mental health. And I agree with you. I think with the pandemic, with social media being what it is, I think the mental health issues that we're going to be seeing is going to get a lot worse. But we've also been working to make mental health part of the Ontario Health Team. We've also been expanding. We have a youth hotline now that they can call when they have issues. And I'd recommend to any of the listeners, treat your mental health the same way you would treat your health in any other part of your body. It's not a bad thing to ask for help. It's actually a very brave thing to ask for help. Life is hard. The world is going through a lot of changes right now. And if you need some extra support, there are plenty of places to find it. Certainly get in touch with my office. We can connect you with organizations. And really, go seek help. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing untoward, or it doesn't make you a weak-willed person or anything like that. I think one of the strongest things that you could do if you're facing challenges is actually ask for help. So I just encourage anybody that's listening right now that's thinking about getting into therapy or dealing with some of their issues, take that first step. Reach out to a mental health practitioner, a therapist, or somebody else, and get the care that you need.
Okay, thank you so much, Graham, and I'm glad that Ford government, our provincial government, now taking these healthcare matters very, very seriously. We are having deliberations, we are having discussions on radios and media, and they are taking regularly questions from the media also to understand how we can improve this. So I know it's going to take some time, and on the other hand side, we need lots of immigrants here in our province, and they are preferring to stay in Ontario. But again, when these hundreds and thousands of immigrants will keep coming, we need to improve our system much better. But anyway, thank you so much for talking to us. Anything you want to add at the end?
No, I just encourage people to check it out. We've released our plan. It's called Your Health, a Plan for Connected Care. It's a 3-pillar plan giving you, 1, the right care in the right place, 2, faster access to care, and 3, our plan to hire more healthcare workers. Your government at the province, we're working very, very hard. We know the challenges that we have as a province, and we're pulling out every stop that we can to make sure that we're fixing it not only for today but for the future.
Thank you so much. Our reporter Prab Noor will be interviewing Minister Sylvia Jones also later in the day, and during this night time, prime time, we will share that interview and on our social media platforms also. Graham, thank you very much talking to us again, and we'll talk soon again.
Thank you, Rajinder. Take care.
Bye.